Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Miftah Rudiana from C class. In this video, I'm going to talk about phonological rules, assimilation, and insertion. So, if you want to know more about phonological rules, assimilation, and insertion, you have to watch this video and don't skip any information from this video. Okay, let's continue the explanation about phonological rules. But before we go to the explanation, did you know about what is phonological rules? Okay, let me explain to you what is phonological rules. Phonological rules is a part of communication through language, whether spoken or written, and knowing what they are and what they exist can help us better understand our world. Phonological rules describe how phonemes are realized as their allophone in a given environment. Environment in phonological typically refers to neighboring phonemes. That is to say, phonological rules describe how a speaker goes from the abstract representation stored in their brain to the actual sound they articulate when they speak. In general, phonological rules start with the underlying representation of a sound, the phoneme that is stored in a speaker mind, and the final surface form, or what the speaker actually pronounces. Also, phonological rules are used with the lexical phonology in a sense that is a theory in which morphological and phonological rules are brought together within a single framework. There are a characteristic of phonological rules. The first is language specificity. A phonological rule that is present in one language may not to be present in other language, or even in all dialects of a given language. The second is productivity. Phonological rules apply even to new words. For example, if an English speaker is asked to pronounce two plural of the nonsense word books, they pronounce the final S as Z, not S, even though they have never used the word before. This kind of test is called the Vox test. And the third is untaught and unconscious. Speakers apply these rules without being aware of it, and they acquire the rules early in life without any explicit teaching. And for the last, intuitive. The rules give speakers intuition about what words are well-formed or acceptable. If a speaker hears a word that does not conform to the language phonological rules, the word will sound foreign or ill-formed. Phonological rules have a number of functions. Among them are the following. The first is change feature values, and the second add new feature. distinctive or non-distinctive aspiration in English, and the third, delete segments, contraction rules in English. First, add segments insertion in plural and past tense. 5. Reorder segments metathesis. And the 6. Phonological rules often refers to entire classes of sounds rather than to the individual sounds. And the last, phonological rules are generated to account for what occurs in a language. They are not originally used to describe children's and disordered speech. However, they have been applied to describe children's and disordered speech. Okay, the next topic I want to explain about assimilation. Assimilation is when one sound is influenced and changed by a neighboring sound. Many phoneticians use the term assimilations to refer to the cases in which one sound affects the sound that appears on its live side. These scholars do not refer to the right word sounds change as assimilation. Generally speaking, there are 3 types of assimilation that can be identified. There is assimilation of place, assimilation of manner, and assimilation of voice. Okay, the first is assimilation of place. It can be demonstrated by readback, that is rapback, where the T sound is replaced by P sounds. This is because the alveolar plosive T is simplified into the P sounds, which is closer the bilabial plosive B. And then the second is assimilation of manner, refers to when 2 different manners of articulation influence each other to form a different type of manner of articulation. Examples of these are the pronunciation of Indian as Indian. This is because plosive D combines with the approximate J to form the affricate J. And then the third, the last is assimilation of voice, is illustrated by the pronunciation of F2 with an F sounds rather than the V sounds, as the voice fricative is followed by a voiceless consonant. There are reasons of assimilation. The first is the tongue cannot always move quickly enough to get from one position to another in order to articulate the next sounds. And then the second, the mouth is too busy anticipating the following sounds. In either case, it approximates the sounds before moving on the next segment of sounds. This approximation is technically referred to as assimilation. Okay, the last topic I want to explain about insertion. Insertion is phonological process in which a sound is added to a word. This also occurs in the English plural rule. When the plural morpheme z is added to bas, would be unpronounceable for most English speakers, so a short vowel is inserted between S and Z. And then voiceless stop insertion, where between a nasal consonant and a voiceless fricative, a voiceless stop with the same place of articulation as the nasal consonant is inserted. And there seems to be two basic reasons for insertion: preventing clusters of consonants that violate syllable structure constraints in the language, and easing transitions between segments that have multiple incompatibilities. Okay, I think it's enough for me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.